music on.
Ooh.
All right. So we're joined this afternoon with the lovely Seneca. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh, I'm so excited. So there's so much that has gone on, right, in the past 2 months.
Yes. It's been
feels,
a blur.
Yes. I was just about to say, it doesn't even feel like it's been 2 months. It's been pretty intense.
Yeah. Amazing intense though, right?
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh,
So
yes.
for the ladies in the group, Seneca's actually been in the group for a little over 2 months, and I have had the pleasure of getting to know her and work with her, and she is just an amazing soul, just full of light and joy and just everything beautiful. I love it. So I'm really, really honored to have her give a little bit of her time today to share with you her experience and her words. I'm as excited as you are to hear, because this wasn't rehearsed. So you know me, I like it unpolished. So so we're really, really honored to have you, Seneca. Would you like to just introduce yourself to the group? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Seneca. I live in Washington, and I have a 1.5-year-old son named Waylon, and I get to stay home with him. And so let's see. My passion is horses. I love horses. I do some horse training and some lessons here and there, but mostly I just get to hang out with Waylon, and it's just been awesome. So, do you want me to talk about my marriage, or are we going to do that?
I love how you asked me that. Like, do you want me to deal with that? Like, do we really need to go there? Can we just talk about horses and babies? I love it.
Yeah, I love my husband. Right?
Disclaimer. I love it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so you are married. That's good to know.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a fun interview. I can tell already. Yeah, so yeah, you could tell us a little bit about your marriage if you want to.
Okay. So I've been married for it's 3 years now. We've been together for 7 or 8 years. And we've had the same struggles, like from pretty near the beginning. And it was just I guess you could say, it was so cyclical, and I just was out of options, or I felt like I was out of options, and I tried everything I tried with my marriage, just made it worse, or just made me more depressed because there was no change, and there was
What kind of things did you try?
I mean, mostly it was doing like a marriage Bible study or reading a book and serving him, and it was very biblically based, probably. It's all the stuff you talk about that doesn't really work. And
no knock on the Bible, by the way.
Yeah, no. In a healthy relationship, I guess. And then I'd come across a book that was very biblically based, and she was very much not anti, but talked about why a lot of the common marriage, what would you call? Marriage things don't work in a abusive relationship. But she was very biblically based, and she basically was telling me in this book that I was going to have to lay down my boundaries, and I was out of options, and that's like what I was going to do. I was going to lay down my boundaries, set everything they say don't do. And I was going to like let the chips fall where they lay. So that's kind of where I was. I was pretty depressed and hopeless, and yeah, I just didn't know where to go. And then I stumbled on you. And everything just really resonated with me. It all made so much sense, and yeah, so I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's where I was in my marriage.
Yeah. So did you feel like your husband didn't love you, or was it just he was just being mean, or what was the biggest thing that you felt at that time? I know things have shifted, but what at the time did you feel was the biggest problem?
I felt like he loved me, but I felt like he didn't know how to love me. And yeah, because I knew deep down he cared about me, but I just felt like he didn't know how to. He loved me the best that he could, and which wasn't enough for me. I just didn't know how to get him to love me in the way that I felt like I needed to be loved.
When you say in the way that you needed to be loved, do you mean like what he said to you, or how he
Yeah, like he was very critical, and it seemed like any jab he could get, he'd throw in there. And I never did anything right or up to his standard, and no matter the harder I tried, I think the worse it was, you know. So I was just always trying to reach this unattainable goal of perfection that he hadn't. I don't know. Yeah, and so I don't know where I'm going with that, but it was just a hopeless, never-ending battle.
Yeah, I saw your jaw tighten when you were talking about that. I could tell that it was still just irking you when you think about it.
Yeah.
So you stumbled across the webinar, you watched it, and then what made you decide to reach out?
I think it was the horses. Like everything I do with horses is like reverse psychology and like different than it's all about not forcing things and not creating a fight. Like just don't put yourself in those situations. Don't set it up for success, and set yourself up in a way that just you don't have the fight and you don't have the brace. And that's like pretty much what you talk about in marriage.
Yes.
So yeah,
I know.
It just really
I remember. Yeah, no, I remember our enrollment call, and you were talking about, hi, I work with horses and I help them to, to relax, and we have this connection. And I'm like, what is the irony of this? Like, you have this with the horses, but the husband, it's like, nah, not so much.
Oh, yes. And so it just all really resonated with me. And so then I signed up for my call and I got to chat with you. Do you want to talk about like my reservations, or?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Tell us what were your reservations?
Okay, well, it all was really great, and then we got to the cost, and that's what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. And I just felt this like sinking, and like I was pretty much in tears on the conversation. I'm like, oh, gotta go. Can we talk later?
That's hilarious. I didn't know it was that bad. You held it. You hit it really well. You're like, okay, can we talk later? I was like, yeah, sure, no worries, no problem. I didn't know you were like.
But I just felt I just had to, this was something I had to do. And my, it just really resonated with me, and I don't know what it was about it. I felt like this is the direction that I really needed to go. And I usually super analyze everything, and I really can't believe I just like jumped into it. I didn't have the money, but I just really felt like this is where I needed to be. And like you said, if like no money in the world, if I could have the amazing relationship of my dreams, like it wouldn't matter. So mostly it was like, oh, will this actually work, and will this make the change? And so I guess I just had to not overanalyze it and just make that leap. And I'm so happy that I did.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. So tell me, what has been your journey now since you made the leap?
I think it's just been in finding myself. And if it wasn't even like a relationship apart, I am a different person than I was 2 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, just the self-confidence and the, like I was saying, just being on this webinar like would have been, oh my gosh, I would have freaked out. I couldn't have I would have probably been shaking. So just having the self-confidence in myself and just having peace with who I am. And there was a lot of fear that I didn't know I had. I kind of thought I kind of had it together, and I thought I was strong, and things didn't really faze me, but I didn't. I was kind of a mess. I probably still am kind of a mess.
That's too funny.
But so I think it's just been a self-growth journey, and learning myself, and yeah, just I was always second guessing myself before, and now I have a vision, I know where I'm going, and I know how to get there, which is amazing. Yeah,
you were just sharing about when you were hanging out with friends, how it's changed for you.
Yeah, I used to, when I'd like have a conversation with someone, and then I'd come home and I'd analyze my conversation and go, oh, did I say something that might have offended them, or like, which was totally ridiculous. I'd like text them and they'd be like, oh no, I didn't get that at all. But yeah, I was just always second guessing myself and over analyzing, and now I'm just at peace with myself, I guess. I don't have that anxiety and self-doubt. And yeah.
Awesome. What was the hardest part of making that shift thus far? Like in the past 2 months, what do you think has been the hardest part?
Oh, the hardest part. Well, definitely, it's been simple, but it hasn't been easy. I think the hardest part, well, we talked a lot about just learning that you are enough, and I had that like deep ingrained belief that I wasn't enough unless I was doing these things, or I was so just really being able to be okay with, like I said, with myself and who I am, and switching out that belief for truth. And
I couldn't have said that better. I love that, switching out that belief for the truth. That should just be the theme right there. That is amazing. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, that is so heartwarming to hear. And I mean, it's because you're like quiet, like so I know sometimes there's so much that's underneath the surface that I don't get a chance to really enjoy. So I'm really enjoying listening to this. This is good. And how about your relationship? I know you've had some ups and downs over the past 2 months with that too. So do share what's been the biggest challenges and what's been the biggest wins, do you think, for you?
Um, I think it's, again, with my relationship, just detaching my self-worth from other
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And like the things Randy says, it's really easy like to say, oh, you need to detach your self-worth from your what your husband's saying or what or other people or whoever, but it's totally different to actually do it.
Yes.
And I think these are all concepts that we know that are true, and we need to, I don't know how to say it. They're all concepts that are easy to just say, but how do you get there? And I had no idea how to get there. And so this last couple months has definitely been a journey on just finding my worth in myself. And the things that Randy says are not reflective on myself.
Yes.
Yeah, and my worth. And so now that takes the emotion out of things, and it really has, if I can just get my head around that, I think that would mostly like eliminate our cycle.
Yes.
Because it was just this endless cycle of he's upset with me about something, and then I'm hurt and upset that he's upset with me, and then it's just this awful circle. And if I can just be this stable, like constant, and not be so affected by his comments, and just be that constant and happy. And I'm probably not making any sense here, but then it doesn't spin us into that cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he still makes comments, and we still have good days and bad days, but I don't get drugged down by it, and it doesn't ruin my whole day or my whole week and perpetuate the cycle. Right now we're probably like good day, bad day, good day, bad day. And by bad day, I just mean like the criticism and the moodiness. And that's, like we talk about, it's his journey. And I just am worrying about my own journey and myself right now, and being true to myself and letting him deal with his craziness.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really important because you can't control what someone else is thinking or feeling or saying even, but you can control how you respond to it. And I think the beauty is you've done an amazing job of really conditioning in that response of, okay, it's I'm not responsible for his stuff. I'm just going to really focus on mine. And that is all that is like probably 80 to 90% of it, is really being able to do that, and to do that from an authentic place, not to do it because you're trying to avoid a fight or you're worried about something else, but because that's really where you are. That way it's not something you put on. So I really love that. And I personally feel like you're being a little hard on yourself. I think you've done an amazing job. And I think you've had some amazing wins. You want to share with the group some of your recent wins in your relationship?
Yes. So this last week, Randy bought me flowers. And he apologized for not being very loving lately. And those are just, I mean, he never apologizes. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say never, but like I probably can count on one hand how many apologies I've had our entire relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. And well, I mean, that's not pretty amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
And that's just keeps me going on the
Yes.
when days aren't like that, and but just seeing that glimpse of what we will one day be, and is so encouraging and so exciting. Like I was saying, we didn't have many good days, so even to have like good days and bad days and good days is pretty huge, and it's easy to forget that, we didn't used to have good days.
Yeah.
So just having good days now is huge, and seeing that vision, and um, we are making progress, and we are headed toward that vision, and yeah, that's
So
pretty.
I'm hearing that you used to not have many good days. Now they're pretty much like half and half. That's huge, right?
Yeah,
Then I'm also hearing that you know where you're headed now. You're no longer feeling like you're flailing and suffering, but you actually have a direction that you're going towards.
yes.
So
And I know how to get there, which is so encouraging. And I
yes.
didn't have a vision. My vision was probably like, for being honest, I probably had this vision that one day we'd get divorced, and it would like, it's
Mm,
pretty, I mean, that's what I was looking at. And so that's really where we were headed, if that's where what I was
wow.
looking at. And I mean, I knew that's not what I wanted, but I just felt out of options, and like, yeah. So
Wow. So really, this is it's a complete 180 that you're doing.
yeah.
You're going from heading towards divorce to actually heading towards your actual dream ideal relationship with your husband,
Mhm.
all in a span of less than 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just amazing. I can't even describe to you what a different person I am than I was 2 months ago.
Wow.
Oh, so
So you've done a 180. You have 50-50 good days, bad days. So you've made huge progress there. You're getting flowers, apologies, all rare occasions.
yes.
So this is really why I emphasize in the group and with each of us to celebrate these things, because this is big. And our tendency is to take it like once it's happened, like, okay, just take it for granted. But no, these are huge things
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, probably 2 months ago, you wouldn't have guessed that you would be getting to this place right now.
No.
So so this is great. And what's just it's just a sign of more things to come. And the beauty of this process, it's natural. So you're not forcing anything or manipulating anything. You're just being yourself. And
Mhm.
that's all that you need to be. And if there's one thing that I can say that I think you have really gotten down from this process that we've been through together is just understanding that all you need to be is yourself. That's it. That's more than
Mhm.
enough.
Mhm. Yes.
So if you could go back and talk to Seneca 2 months ago when you were first looking at the masterclass and considering whether to speak with me or whether to sign up, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to get rid of the fear, and yeah, it was just so much fear. And I just had to take this like jump. It felt like a blind jump. I don't know. It was a leap of faith, right? And um yeah, just to not have that fear, let go of it, and um just to see my vision, and make it happen. And that's really what I've done in this last 2 months, is I'm making my vision a reality, and not my vision of what I didn't want, which is what I was envisioning, but my envision of like what I want, and what I,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, that is so powerful. I am so proud of you and so happy and honored to be a part of this journey with you.
Mm.
One last question that I have for you is, what do you think helped you the most? Like, I know we have different forms of support that you get to be able to take this path. What do you think helped you the most?
As far as support,
Yeah.
um, I think so we have like 2 calls a week, which usually go over an hour. Actually, I think we've had like 2 that weren't an hour, but other than that, they probably are more like 2 hours.
Yeah, they vary.
But just having that every week, talking to ladies, going through their own stuff, and the encouragement and love, and just just having that, and um, that's been huge for me. And it's amazing. We look forward to our calls every week, and Tuesday comes around, and we're like, "Oh man, it feels like it's been so long." And not that we don't keep in touch or anything, but just that face to face, and that's been pretty huge for me. And I just look forward to it. It's awesome.
That's so great. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more isolating than feeling like you're in an unhappy situation in your marriage, but knowing you can't talk to your family or your friends or whoever because they're going to give you stuff that you
Yeah.
don't want to hear, right? Whatever they tell you, it's like, I don't really want to hear that right now. Some of them will be like, stay in it, be a martyr, Christ died on the cross. And then there'll be other people who'll be like, oh, girl, leave him, he's no good. And you're like, neither of them is really helpful for me at this moment, So it's nice to have a community of people who understand where you're coming from and who can relate and are going to encourage you and support you and give you good advice, good encouragement instead of stuff that's not helpful for what your situation is.
Yeah, and when I felt like I want to vent, which I still have these days, I want to like, oh my gosh, he did this and this and this and this, which that's what I do to friends, and that's totally, I didn't see it that way, but it's totally me being a victim and wanting people to have sympathy and just like that. I don't know. It's me being in that victim mindset. And with the group, I know that you guys will have compassion for me and you'll love me through those situations, but you won't let me be a victim. You have, I don't know how you do it, but you have this like way of turning everything into this great learning positive, and it snaps you out of that victim kind of mindset.
Oh, thank you. Yes, no victims here.
No.
And it's true. You're a fierce, amazing woman. And every one of the women that I have the fortune of working with are just amazing. Like forces of nature, powerful, unstoppable, got all the fire and all the sass. And I'm like, yes, there are no victims here. It is true. You are powerful women. You're warriors. So it's just such an honor to be on this journey because it's just so fun. It's so fun to see this just breathe, just relax and enjoy the peace of being totally fine with who you are. It's just amazing. So I really wish you and your husband and your son all the success and joy and happiness and warm, fuzzy cuddliness in the world because you so deserve it. You're an amazing soul. And I'm so grateful to you for giving us some of your time today to share your thoughts and your experiences. You've inspired me, and I'm sure that everyone who watches this will be equally as inspired and encouraged by your story. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad I got to share.
Yay. So
I hope it helps someone.
Yes, I'm so honored. So Seneca and I would love to see you join our community. If you have any questions, always feel free to private message me. And we will be in touch next week for next week's Facebook Live. So much love to everyone. Thank you. Bye.